Alright, assholes, here we go.
Yum, 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 yum.
That's right, Bjorny.
Welcome everybody to Crystal Kyle and Friends.
Oh yeah, first up, our leftist of the day,
Yum, yum, yum,
Kyle
yum,
fucking
yum.
Kalinske.
Yum, 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 day.
Yum, 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 Bjorny.
Yum, 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 yum.
Yum, 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 yum.
Yum, 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 yum.
Yum, 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 yum. Oh, great job saying yum, 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 Bjorn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yum, 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 yum.
Yum, 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 yum.
Yum, 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 yum.
Yum, 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 yum. Oh, hi, Bjorn.
Okay.
Oh, I love you, Bjorn.
I love you, Dad.
Oh, thank you so much, Bjorn.
Hey.
Yes?
Please take my phone.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Bjorny. Please, I get you. Your phone fills my heart with so much joy, Bjorny.
Yes.
Alright. Back to the show. The other show, that is.
Excited to have on today Oliver Larkin running in Florida's 25th district, running against Jared Moskowitz, a self-described Ron DeSantis Democrat. I'm not kidding about that. Probably not the smartest thing to do when you're running for election to describe yourself as a Ron DeSantis Democrat in the Democratic Party. But Oliver, thanks so much for joining us, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, great to be on with.
I think it's totally brilliant to describe yourself as a Ron DeSantis Democrat, especially in Florida. But, you know, Kyle's ridiculous, so. Do we think that rises to the level of expressing a political viewpoint? It's kind of just electoral strategy, so even though he's wrong about it, it's not that interesting.
You guys. So you've been making quite a bit of news lately in the closing days of your race. The thing that probably blew up the most and made many people happy is that you went on Fox News directly in the Lion's Den and you called Donald Trump a pedophile to the face of one of the hosts, who then panicked and ended the segment. Take a look at that, everybody.
How many children can be raped and it's fine if you're in relation to the immigration community?
If we're going to talk about children being raped, then we need to hold this pedophile president, Donald Trump, accountable, and all those that have been implicated by the Epstein files that the Department of Justice is still not leaking. They've sent APAC after Thomas Massey for having the temerity to
Mr.
hold
Larkin,
accountable the
thank
pedophiles that are in control of our government.
Thank you.
All right, Oliver, balls of steel. tell me about what happened there.
You know, I was trying to give the responsible answer, the politician answer, when he was asking me, they were playing the tape of immigrants coming over the border from Morocco into Spain, and he was asking, shouldn't you be afraid of this? Shouldn't the American people be scared that this is going to happen? And I was like, what's there to be afraid of people coming to seek a better life in the United States? And he's like, well, what about the crime? What about the crime that immigrants commit? And I said, well, we have a legal system that adjudicates violent crime, and also immigrants commit crime at lower rates than U.S.-born citizens. And he said, well, what about the rapes? What about the children that are being raped? And I was like, okay, bro, if we're going to talk about children being raped, then we're going to address the elephant in the room of the pedophile president. So, you know, they were really testing me, and I think it's almost like with Fox News, they try to dare you, like, not to address the hypocrisy. And I think when you do address the hypocrisy, then they scurry into their corner and, send you to commercial.
Yeah, he panicked. He melted down.
He was like, okay. I mean, I think he genuinely didn't know what to do in that circumstance.
Thanks for joining us, Oliver. Thank you. Next.
Because he doesn't want to. I mean, as an anchor, I can imagine he's thinking like, okay, I don't want to litigate with this guy about like Trump being in Epstein files 1 million times and allegations against him and whatever. So the best thing to do is just, okay, thanks, bye, go to commercial break. But what a wild moment. Talk about, I mean, you're running against Jared Moskowitz. Tough district, tough primary, all those sorts of things. DSA-backed candidate. What did that
You're
moment...
the DSA-backed candidate,
yes,
not Jared. Sorry.
Obviously. What did that moment mean for your campaign? And I feel like since then, you've just been getting media request after media request. So how has all of that been going?
I think, there's this wrongful assumption that the left only wants to fight Democrats. And I think what that showed is that I'm more than willing to throw a punch against the fascist conservative party. And I think that really resonated with the people in our district. I mean, we're hearing about this now on the doors with our phone banking, but it was really a breakthrough moment because I think people have waited so long to just see candidates call Fox and call Republicans out on their BS. And that was really a moment where I was able to show that I have all the smoke for Jared Moskowitz, but I'm also doing this because I don't think he's fighting hard enough against these Republicans where it's so easy to call them on their hypocrisy. And I think Republicans, just count on Democrats like Jared Moskowitz to, conform to the political, established rules and not, really call them out when there's this, huge specter of the Epstein files. So I think it was an enormous moment for our campaign.
Teddy will face.
We've seen just tremendous growth in our campaign's following and the organic reactions. And yeah, it's definitely made me a lot more of a desirable guest for these platforms. I've been on CNN, Fox News, News Nation, many other platforms. And I think the more that I'm able to show that...
Sorry,
Yeah.
I was going to say, Crystal Collin Friends, Breaking Points.
Yeah, straight up. Yeah. This has been, you guys have been, really platforming the DSA candidates and showing that, this is where the country is going. And this is what the Democratic voter base wants to see. They want to see someone, who's willing to fight against the Republican Party. And when Jared Moskowitz is not fighting hard enough because he's a DeSantis Democrat and he's bragging about his friendship with Matt Gaetz and how that got him appointed by DeSantis. I mean, it's just so unpalatable with the moment we're in where Democrats have been so feckless and unable to stop, a second Trump election. And now, we've seen them catering. We just saw Peggy Flanagan destroy Angie Craig in Minnesota because Angie Craig was the only Democrat in that state to vote for the Lake and Riley Act, and I'm running against the only Democrat in our state who voted for it. And I think Democratic voters are done with that.
I feel like there's this massive imbalance in the media, and even among politicians too, I think you can say, where like all the right does is fight the left.
I was, man, I knew I shouldn't be tripping about this with Kyle, because all he fucking does is blab about what the fuck he thinks, okay, whether it's dumb or not, and half the time at least, it is very dumb, but I was starting to get worried, because this is a fucking interview, alright, and I was like, oh shit, I see, like, there's actually a chance we might there's actually a fucking chance we might make it all the way through this stupid video and not hear Kyle say any of his political beliefs, which is exactly what we're here to judge. So I was starting to get worried, but of course, here he fucking comes. God damn you, Kyle. God damn you, Kyle.
Like, they are excited. Like, the people on Fox News get excited every day to wake up and fight the left. And, like, we haven't returned that energy until now, with all, like, people like yourself, DSA type people, and I do feel like it's done the country a disservice up until this point to have such weak Democrats always try to meet the Republicans halfway. Because, like, even the so-called liberal media outlets like CNN and MS Now, they're really like both sides false equivalence networks. So we're really fighting back against this, like, tsunami. And now finally, like, we're breaking through. So speak to that. Speak to the DSA people who have, like, successfully broken through, now getting eyes and attention on them. I think, like, we haven't had a left that's really, like, robust and powerful and strong and aggressive. And right now, it's finally coming to fruition.
Yeah, I mean, we're
I think he said that historically, or in his experience at least, the right is strong and the left is weak. That's just sort of definitionally true. It's not that one side is that much stronger than the other, but it is still true. The right is stronger than the left. So, with great power comes great responsibility. Just look at the stats. Men are stronger than women. Who's on the right? Who's on the left? Manly men are stronger than feminized men. Look who's on the right. Look who's on the left. Clearly, the right is stronger than the left. Right-wing women are stronger than left-wing women, etc. So yeah, that's true. So it's true, but is it itself a right-wing or left-wing view? Does this even rise to the level of a political viewpoint that we can judge? Well, yes, by definition, because he's saying the right, blah, 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 more than the left, or the left, blah, 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 less than the right. So we know for sure it's a political view of his, or at least he's saying that it is, so we'll take him at his word. The question is that belief itself a left-wing or right-wing belief, conservative or liberal belief? That's interesting. It's too easy to believe that. It's too simple of a fact. It's too Captain Obvious. It's so fucking Captain Obvious, Kyle, that it doesn't count as a real political belief for our purposes with judging you, because it's such a fact-based thing that to recognize it just seems too likely to come from both the left and the right ideologically, which is to say from neither one. It's not ideological, in my view, it's not ideological. I'm open to hearing a counter argument to this, but in my view, it's not ideological to believe that the right is strong and the left is less strong than the right. Or maybe somehow you don't think that the right is strong, but surely you must admit that the left is less strong than the right. Or else I'd be fascinated to hear why you disagree. Alas, we shall continue listening.
Not apologizing for the views that we have. I think a great example is Daria Lisa Valley in New York City. I mean, the media, the corporate media really tried to get her to back off of a lot of her previously held positions, and she said no. And I think that is a marker of authenticity and consistency that's really been missing, because I think far too many establishment Democratic candidates and elected officials are like so quick to apologize or so quick to back off of a position at like the slightest inkling that it might not be palatable in the corporate media. And I think that just shows a weakness and an unwillingness to actually have a backbone and stand up and fight. We've seen this, play out in many different races across the country where the corporate media is so willing to criticize like bad tweets on the left, but will allow for Randy Fine to say there needs to, for every one Israeli mother that cries, we need a million Lebanese mothers to weep. Like they've got such an imbalance in terms of what they're willing to hold to account for candidates on the left and candidates on the right. And I think it's a disservice for those of us on the left to be apologizing for positions that are, strongly held core convictions. We had the largest racial uprising for justice in American history in 2020, and now we have candidates that are backing away from that. And I think it just shows that there's an unpalatable kind of feeling that they feel, where it's like, I don't want to be criticized by the corporate media. I want to play nice. And sometimes you need to be a little bit more antagonistic. I mean, the American people don't trust the corporate media, so why are we going to conform to their kind of preconceived notions of how a candidate should think or act? It's not where Democratic voters are. I don't think it's where independent or Republican voters are at either. And I think, trying to campaign in this box that the media draws for us is just a disservice to really where, the grassroots energy is. And I think that's what we're trying to embody and represent.
Talk a little bit more about Jared Moskowitz, because you are in the Democratic side running against a true villain who, like the Republicans, actually spends a lot of time fighting the left. He's very energized about that. He's got that in cause with the Republicans. But also, what signs are you seeing that you've got a shot in this race? Because I think this is, it's a difficult district. There was a whole redistricting thing. Florida's not exactly like ground zero for the socialist revolution, or maybe it is. Maybe you've started that or advanced that significantly. So talk to us about what you're seeing that gives you hope you can actually win this race.
Yeah, I woke up this morning to news that Laura Loomer and Randy Fine are coming to Jared Moskowitz's defense in the final days of this race, which is absolutely hilarious, but shows where the real coalition lies in Congress.
I'm sure that's going to help them allow with Democrats.
Yeah, I mean, this is someone who, the DeSantis relationship, the Matt Gaetz relationship, the fact that he's all the more willing to work with the Republican Party at the same time that he's voting to censure Al Green, voting to censure Rashida Tlaib, is always punching left, and he doesn't actually have the courage to stand up and campaign in our district. The Sun Sentinel said that this is a disservice to voters, that is, shows a disrespect and an unwillingness to defend his own record. And I think some of the markers of really the coalition that we're building, the Florida AFL-CIO declined to endorse Jared Moskowitz at their statewide convention. He was the only incumbent Democrat not to receive the endorsement of the statewide AFL-CIO, and we've gotten the endorsements of the Communication Workers of America, 1199 SEIU, who I was with on the picket line yesterday outside of HCA, Florida Woodmont Hospital. HCA is, by the way, the for-profit hospital corporation that Rick Scott was president and CEO of when he committed the largest Medicare fraud in U.S. history, and got a $300 million golden parachute that, springboarded his political career. And Jared Moskowitz is taking their corporate PAC donations and trading their stocks. So, we're really showing that among the labor movement, with 1199, with SEIU, Florida Public Services Union, with the Committee of Interns and Residents, with IATSE, Local 500. We're really building a labor coalition. We're bringing people together that stand a lot to lose. And I think they're already seeing what they're losing with milquetoast neoliberal Democrats like Jared Moskowitz that are failing to stand up. I mean, we're talking about the first Democrat in Congress to join the Doge caucus, a self-described twice-appointed Ron DeSantis Democrat, the only Democrat in our state to vote for the Lake and Riley Act. This is someone who is, only having a D next to his name because he's been running in Broward County, Florida. But I think what we're seeing with the Democratic electorate is that, just having any blue will no longer do, that we really need people that are going to stand up and fight for us, and people with the courage to actually stand up before a crowd of voters and respond to their questions. I think it's a real mark of cowardice that Jared Moskowitz has declined to so much as appear beside me or say my name over the course of this campaign. And I think it's because when he realizes that if the word does get out that he's being primary, that Democratic vote.
What? What, Bjorn?
It's tasty.
Is the mayonnaise tasty, Bjorn? Is that what you said?
It's spin.
Really?
Yo.
With Play-Doh? Oh, I love you, Bjorn. Daddy loves Bjorn. That's right. Good job. Daddy fix. You're welcome. You're so very welcome, my Bjorn.
Are going to flock towards us, which I think is why we're seeing so much of this late-breaking momentum that's coincided with me going on Fox News and calling Trump a pedophile. We're seeing the poll numbers close, and we're seeing tremendous grassroots enthusiasm because Democratic voters are ready for something a lot better than what Jared Moskowitz has been offering.
And correct me if I'm wrong, didn't Moskowitz go on Fox News, very contrasting situation from your appearance on Fox News, to tell them that he was to the right of J.D. Vance on Iran? Isn't that a thing that actually happened?
Yes, he said he is to the right of the J.D. Vance-Witkoff approach and agrees more with Lindsey Graham and probably Senator Tom Cotton on Iran. And it was at the same time that, as a sitting member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, he purchased Lockheed Martin stock on 4 separate occasions leading up to the illegal war that Trump started on Iran.
Wow.
This is the level of just rank corruption and personal profiteering that we're seeing in the kind of two-party neoliberal, neoconservative establishment that's just looking for a war anywhere they can find one. So Jared Moskowitz is, yes, he goes on Fox News to agree with the Republican Party. I'm going on Fox News to show that I can throw a punch, and that as a DSA candidate, I'm not just running against the Democratic Party, I'm running to change politics as a whole. And the Republican Party has been such a destructive force in this country that my biggest problem with Jared Moskowitz is that he's not fighting them hard enough, and it's because he holds a lot of their same positions.
I also wanted to point out he voted to censure the legend Representative Al Green, who, remember, he stood up to Trump during one of his State of the Union addresses and responded to him, and the Democrats tried to make a whole show of we're not out of bounds like these Republicans, we will police our bad guys. Well, it turns out the people actually loved what Al Green did there. Talk a little bit about his foreign policy record as
Oh no, Jay.
What's wrong, Bjorny? Huh?
It's not time.
Yes, it's time for sleep. Sleep, sleep, sleep. What's the opposite of wake? The opposite of wake is sleep. Sleep, sleep, sleep.
No,
Bjorn,
a pie.
Bjorn, are you ready to go to sleep?
Yeah.
Yeah? Ray, go to sleep? Way go to sleep.
Mommy.
Bjorn, go to sleep in Bjorn's bed. Okay, Bjorn?
Sleep with mommy.
Bjorn sleeps in Bjorn's bed, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
We are with mommy.
Bjorn sleeps in Bjorn's bed. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Great job, Bjorn.
My biggest problem with Jared Moskowitz is that he's not fighting them hard enough, and it's because he holds a lot of their same positions.
I also wanted to point out he voted to censure the legend Representative Al Green, who, remember, he stood up to Trump during one of his State of the Union addresses and like responded to him, and the Democrats tried to make a whole show of like, we're not out of bounds like these Republicans, we will police our bad guys. Well, it turns out like the people actually loved what Al Green did there. Talk a little bit about his foreign policy record as well, because I feel like that's probably the area where he's most ripe for criticism, where, you know, as Abdul would say, Moskowitz is okay with sending our money to like go blow up innocent people, but he doesn't seem to want to spend the money in his dish.
Alright. Last time I wasn't really listening closely, but this time it's fairly easy to hear it if you listen. He's saying that what Al Green did, interrupting Trump's speech belligerently, heckler's veto, was a good thing. That's what he's saying. I don't actually think that there's particularly attached to that. It's very easy to embarrass him on the subject. But he's getting increasingly psychotic and deranged as the years go by. So the salient question is the heckler's veto is supporting people who heckle those who are speaking? Is that it's my turn to speak and somebody else afterwards because they didn't be able to say what they're saying? And where they want to say what they're saying instead of me being able to say what I'm saying. And let's see.
half ago, I spoke at Mount Vernon, of course, the estate of George Washington. It was fabulous. I spoke in front of Young America's
Can't tell, we're now on Ben Shapiro, or the right way now.
Foundation, and the number of young people who were there, probably 1,000 young people out there in the humidity listening to America's founding principles. I thought it was a great speech. I thought it was a great time had by all. I think you ought to hear it because it has some pretty foundational principles that we all need to remember.
It's time for the undefeated, undisputed debate champion of the world, the tiny-hatted titan, the Hebrew Hammer, Ben Shapiro!
Thank you so much. That's very kind. Thank you so much. Love you back. I appreciate that. And Cabot, who does work at Daily Wire, is contractually obligated to say all of those very nice things right there. It is an honor to be here, obviously, with Young America's Foundation, a fabulous foundation standing up for America's founding principles, and, of course, it's an honor to be here at Mount Vernon, the estate of our founding father, George Washington, the greatest American who has ever lived.
Okay. Like I thought, we're cooking with some fucking gas already. He said it's an honor to be there, and he said George Washington is the greatest American who has ever lived. It's an honor to be there, and he's the greatest American. Let's focus on it's an honor to be there. Not sure where he is, but it's obviously some big gathering of right-wing people. Probably some sort of patriotism assembly. Well, let's
We come together to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the founding of America. It's an auspicious and it's a historic moment when we really should be able to cheer the unparalleled accomplishments of the most successful polity in all of world history, the most dynamic economic engine for innovation and prosperity ever experienced by mankind, the most extraordinary military power ever devised by mankind, 160 years of peace on our continent, victory over fascism and over communism, the defeat of endemic poverty and the maintenance of the freedom of the seas. America is indeed the empire of liberty our founders dreamed about. And yet we feel uneasy. We do.
Empire of Liberty. It couldn't be more clear. The view he is expressing is a liberal view, which is to say, right-wing view. He is extolling the virtues of an empire of liberty. That means, in his heart, he agrees with me that monarchy is superior. That is, again, a liberal view, a right-wing view.
feel troubled.
After 4 decades of teaching at Harvard, you...
And of course, now that we're on the center, so we always start with the left, we go to the right, finish on the center. And the center today, trigonometry. Good old Constantine and Francis.
decided to leave.
I was banging my head against the wall for years and years and years, trying to get the university to go on supporting the teaching of Western civilization. And we have a treasury of Western civilization that is preserved through the golden thread of tradition over 2,500 years. It's a story of rise and fall. It's a story of virtue followed by achievement, followed by corruption. It's a story of collapse and renaissance. It's a story of corruption and reform. That's what real human history is like. We have to keep it going. It's up to us.
Many of you have commented that you're seeing too many ads in our videos. We've listened to your feedback on the channel. Please help us to continue bringing you fantastic content. This beautiful book you co-wrote about the history of Western civil, and leaving a comment with your thoughts on this video. Professor James Hankins, welcome to Trigonometry.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, it's a great pleasure to have you. We want to talk about this beautiful book you co-wrote about the history of Western civilization. 2 volumes, actually. I have both at home. But first of all, I would love to hear a little bit more about you and your background. And of course, there was a pivotal moment where after 4 decades of teaching at Harvard, you decided to leave, which I imagine is a very difficult decision for someone with tenure at such a prestigious university and such a long history to do. But you did it because you felt that the university was no longer doing the thing that it was supposed to do in your field. Is that right?
That's exactly right. I actually decided to retire in 2020, the year of George Floyd, the year of COVID, and I just didn't want to do it anymore because they created such a terrible atmosphere. And they wanted the professors to lecture with masks on, which I refused to do. And I took advantage of the power of the glass of water. Because you knew when you were wearing a mask during the COVID era, you were allowed to take the mask off when you went to a restaurant and you were served a glass of water. So when I lectured, I brought a glass of water with me, and I took the mask off and drank some water and then lectured. And no one died.
Shocking, really.
Shocking. I didn't want to go on doing that. I decided I would retire. And I got into a retirement rhythm. But
Alright, this thing with the masks, this is clearly I'm gonna march to the beat of my own drum if I want, and fuck you. That's very right wing, and he's quite right to do it. He's completely right about what he said and about what he did, and I agree with him 10 billion %. He's just objectively correct about what he did in the mask in context, and almost always would be in any other context. And it's a right-wing belief, because it says, yes, I can